Hi everyone, how is it going? In today's episode, we're going to make this lovely patchwork tote bag. The black itself is a log cabin black, and this bag has that recessed zipper closure with a couple of slip pockets inside. The construction of this bag is almost similar to the Bianca tote bag that I posted a few months back. The only difference is the size. This bag is a little smaller than the Bianca tote. And of course the zipper itself also is kind of like different, because in the Bianca tote we use polyester zipper, while in this bag we use the fancy metal zipper. So we're gonna get started sewing very soon, so I hope you enjoy this whole tutorial. Let me know in the comment below if you have any question. Consider subscribing to this channel. I post weekly fun sewing and quilting projects. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. To make the block for the front exterior fabric, you're gonna need to prepare a rectangular fabric measuring 3 by 2 inches and a bunch of strips of fabric measuring 1.5 inch. You will need 16 strips, and the length should vary starting from 2 inches up to 18 inches. So we're gonna start off with this rectangle, obviously, and then one of your strip. You want to sew this strip on this side of your rectangle, which is the shorter side. So you want to lay them right side together just like so, and then sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Once you've done that, if you got extra strip as I do here, you want to trim that off, and of course you want to make sure that you're trimming this evenly. Now you want to take another strip, and we're going to work on the other side. So this side right here. So again, you want to lay the strip right side together and sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. And once you've done sewing, you want to again trim off that excess fabric evenly. Now we're going to work on this side here. So take another strip, and again place them right side together and sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Basically, you're gonna make your way around this rectangle. So our first round is done. Now we're going to work on the second layer. So you want to start this from the same side where you started your first round. So you want to take your strip and sew this with 1/4 inch of seam allowance, and again trim those excess fabric. So you want to pretty much do the same thing and build this block until you've got 4 layers of strips. So you're gonna end up with something like this. You will have 4 layers of strips. If everything lays flat, you should end up with a 10 by 11 inch rectangle. Then you want to go ahead and give this a quick press. Prepare your main fabric. This is gonna be the border and the back exterior of your purse. You want to cut 2 3-inch strips from one selvage end to another. Now we're gonna sew the strip on the block here, starting off from the same side where we started our very first round. So you want to lay them right side together and sew with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Then you want to trim off that excess fabric. Now we're gonna work on this side. So lay the strip right side together and then sew again with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Alright, so your front exterior block is done. You want to go ahead and give this a quick press. You should end up with a 15 by 16 inch rectangle. Then you want to cut the back piece out of the main fabric. Obviously, it should be the exact same size as the front piece. Then you want to go ahead and sandwich this with the quilt batting and quilt backing and quilt these two pieces. Or you may also use the fusible fleece instead if you wanna omit the quilting. So here I've got my pieces already quilted with the classic diamond shape quilt design. For the backing fabric, use your least favorite fabric, the one that you really wanted to get rid of and you question yourself why you ever bought it in the first place, if you know what I mean, since that isn't gonna be exposed to your final project anyway. Now we're going to work on the zipper. So we're gonna use the metal zipper here. You're gonna need to use a 12-inch metal zipper. So when I say 12-inch, it's referring to the length of the teeth of your zipper, while the actual total length of your zipper should be about 13.5 inch. Since obviously this zipper is shorter than your back pieces, we're going to lengthen it up by adding zipper tabs on both ends of the zipper. Cut a 3-inch long strip. The width of the strip should be the same as the width of your zipper, which usually about 1 inch. Now you want to fold this strip in half and you want to place it here right by your zipper end. So the fold line of your strip should be sitting right by the zipper end. Secure them in place with a pin. Then you want to sew right on the edge with about 1/8 inch of seam allowance. So you're gonna end up with something like this. Then you want to work on the other side of the zipper. So you want to cut another identical strip and fold it in half. Lay that right by your zipper tab stop, and then you're gonna go ahead and sew this right on the edge as well. Alright, so here I've got my zipper tabs already attached to the zipper. The length of the zipper with the tabs should be about 15 inches or the same as your exterior piece, so you can double check again. I think mine is a little bit longer. So I'm just gonna trim off whatever I have excess. It's about 1/8 inch. I know it's not a big deal, but it's always good to have the exact measurement. Prepare your zipper panels. You should cut 4 strips measuring 3 inches wide and 15 inches long. Now you want to open up your zipper pull a little bit. You want to have one of your zipper panel right side up. Then lay your zipper right side down, just like so. Then you want to take the second zipper panel and then lay that right side down. You want to make sure that all the edges are aligned. Then you want to secure them in place using these sewing clips. Once you've done that, you want to go ahead and sew all along the edges here with about 1/4 inch of seam allowance. I'm using normal presser foot here, however I move my needle all the way to my left just to have extra room. You can also use your zipper foot if you've got one. And once you've done sewing, you want to open this up. Finger press that a little bit. You may also go ahead and press this with an iron, but just make sure that your iron is set on low settings so it's not gonna distort the zipper. Then you want to go ahead and top stitch all the way on the edge here. Now we're going to work on the other side of the zipper. Lay the zipper panel right side up, then place the zipper on top of it right side down. You want to take the other panel and place it right side down. And you're gonna again sew this with 1/4 inch of seam allowance and then top stitch that as well. Then you're gonna end up with something like this. Now you want to fold this in half widthwise, right sides together. So what we're gonna do actually is to sew the sides together. We're gonna start from this one, so place a couple of pins to keep this in place and then sew with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Then you want to go ahead and do the same with the other side. And once you've done that, you want to take a pinking shear. Then you want to trim off the seam allowance here. And you want to be careful not to cut through the stitches, so just trim like a 1/4 inch away. The reason we use pinking shear is so the raw edges here won't fray. You may also use a serger and serge the edges instead if you have one. Now if you turn this piece to the right side, you can see how the zipper already forming. Awesome. Now we're gonna set this aside and work on the pockets. Take your pocket piece, fold this in half, right side together widthwise. Then you want to sew this with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Once you've done that, you want to turn this piece inside out and then give it a quick press. So you want to go ahead and sew this from the bottom to the top and back to the bottom. And that's pretty much it for the pockets. Don't worry about this, it's gonna get enclosed anyway when you sew the side seams. Now we're gonna start assembling the back. Draw a 2-inch square on both bottom corners of your front and back piece. Then you wanna go ahead and cut them with a scissor. So you wanna do the same for both of your lining pieces as well. Lay your front and back pieces right side together. Secure them with some sewing clips. Then you want to go ahead and sew the side seams and the bottom as well with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Once you've done sewing, we're gonna work on the bottom corners here. So you want to open this up, match the seam or nest it together. Secure that in place with a sewing clip, and then you want to go ahead and sew this with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Then you want to do the same with the other side. Now you may turn this back inside out. Alright, I think it's looking awesome. Now we're gonna work on the strap anchors. You want to cut 2 rectangles measuring 6 by 4 inch. Then you want to go to your ironing board, fold the strip in half widthwise, and then press. And once you've done that, you want to open it up and then fold the edges here towards the center fold, just like so, and then you want to give it a quick press. Then you want to fold that again in half and press. So basically you're going to make a 1-inch strip, and you're going to end up with something like this. If you see here the fold lines, so just like so. Alright, so now you want to go ahead and sew this all around with 1/8 of an inch of seam allowance. And once you've got both strips sewn, go ahead and cut them in halves. So you're gonna end up with 4 3-inch strips. Next, you're gonna prepare your tote bag handles. I've got mine from Joann in black color here. Now you wanna take your back piece and measure in with a ruler 3-inch from the side and put a little mark there. And you wanna do the same with the other side. Take one of your strap anchor and feed that through one of the ring. Lay that on where you put the mark and secure that in place with the fabric clip. And you want to do the same with the other side. Then you want to go ahead and sew this with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. And this is how it's gonna turn out, and you want to do the same with the other side. Next, assemble the lining pieces exactly the same way you did the exterior shell. Now that we've got our exterior piece and the lining piece ready to go, it's time to assemble them. So turn your lining piece to the wrong side, then insert that into the exterior piece. And now you want to take your zipper piece and you want to unzip that. Now the zipper should be still on the wrong side, and I'm holding the bottom stop with my right hand on my right side, while the top stop on my left side, because I'm a right-handed, so I want to be able to pull my zipper with my right hand. If you are left-handed, you may want to do the opposite. Now you want to insert this to the top of the bag through your zipper teeth, just like what I'm showing you here. You want to make sure that the raw edges of your zipper panel and the raw edges of your bag are aligned. So you want to start off by matching the side seams and put a fabric clip to keep this in place, and you want to do the same on the other side and make your way around. Once you've done that, you want to sew all around with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. So you want to remove the arm of your sewing machine here, and I recommend changing your needle to a size larger. I suggest to use the denim size or jean size, since we are going to sew through some bulky area. Once you've done sewing, you're going to take a scissor and trim this seam allowance about 1/4 inch away, and of course you want to be careful not to cut through the stitches. Once you've done that, you want to turn this zipper into the inside of the bag, and I'm going to use my Hera marker to neaten the edges here. You can also use like coin or spatula, or simply press it with an iron. Then we're going to top stitch this all around with 3/8 of an inch of seam allowance. This is to make sure that all the raw edges underneath will be enclosed. And that's all I have for you today, guys. Thumbs up if you like this video, and I shall see you next time with another fun sewing project. Goodbye!